and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and it is now July. I hope you enjoyed the month of June where we did Guitar Heroes. So now for the month of July, I thought I'd do something kind of fun. We're going to talk about one of the biggest bands in the world, the Beatles. A lot's been said about them, and I don't know that I can add anything. But for the next several days, we're going to talk about Beatle albums, Beatle-related albums, and things of that nature. And I figured since it's the first, we'll start with the first, and we're going to talk about the debut album in England by the Beatles, Please Please Me, with Love Me Do, and 12 other songs. This album was released on March 22nd, 1963. And like I said, this was the debut album by the Beatles. And it featured some of their earliest hits. The first single they released was Love Me Do, which wasn't like a major chart success, but it was enough to get them back into the studio to record again, where they recorded the follow-up, Please Please Me, which was a number one hit, their first number one hit in England. Now this is almost a year before they were huge in the United States, and so the American audiences really didn't know anything about the Beatles, but no English rock band had ever really done anything in the United States before the Beatles broke big in early 1964, late 63. And so those were the two first big hits by the Beatles, Love Me Do and Please Please Me. Now, once Please Please Me became a huge hit, they went in to record their first full-length album with producer George Martin. They went into the EMI studios, and they needed 10 more songs. Now, Love Me Do was backed by P.S. I Love You, and Please Please Me was backed with Ask Me Why. So they had 4 songs, but they needed 10 more to make a full single, or a full single LP. So they went in and recorded basically what was their live set at the time. They started about 10 a.m. on Monday morning on February 11th, and they just started working through their live set song by song, and really, depending on how well they did it, that was it. At 10:45 p.m., about 13 hours later, they had pretty much captured one of their live sets from the Cavern Club. And so that was how it was done. So the album kicks off with an exciting 1, 2, 3, 4 from Paul McCartney, and I Saw Her Standing There. The other tracks, Misery, which is also a Lennon-McCartney, or as the album credits here, McCartney-Lennon. Anna, Go to Him, which was a cover. Chains, the Golfing King song. Boys, sung by Ringo. Ask Me Why, Lennon-McCartney. Please Please Me, Lennon-McCartney. Love Me Do, Lennon-McCartney. P.S. I Love You, Lennon-McCartney. Baby It's You, co-written by Burt Bacharach, of course. Do You Want to Know a Secret, Lennon-McCartney. A Taste of Honey, which was one of their covers. There's a Place, another Lennon-McCartney original. And finally closing with the big set closer, and plus it shredded Lennon's voice, and you can hear it in the take, Twist and Shout, the cover of the Isley Brothers song. Now, they also recorded Hold Me Tight, but it just wasn't included, so it ended up coming out on the second album. But this was the debut release from the Beatles. It did come out in stereo and mono. This is the mono reissue from a couple of years ago. And subsequently, this is the only version of this album that I actually own. But it is considered one of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Now, I don't know that it necessarily is a harbinger of things to come. It certainly is an exciting album. It's a pleasant listen. But I think the Beatles would go on and make better and greater albums by all means. But the thing about the Beatles throughout the 60s is that they were always sort of topping themselves and getting better, as it were, all the time. And so, but as a debut, it's certainly one of the important releases, and it holds up very nicely. I prefer the mono mix on this album. when it came out on CD in the 80s, it was the mono mix that was available. And it's just nice and punchy, and the songs really lend themselves to that mono sound. So enjoy Daily Records for the next few days. Comment down below. What do you think about Please Please Me? Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all of that good stuff, as I always say. In the meantime, I will see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.